Pieces of Advice, the place which changes people's lives.
Have you ever wondered what it takes to find the love of your life? Is it your dream to find a life partner who will love, cherish, and adore you? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Arielle Ford. She has spent the last 25 years living and promoting consciousness through all forms of media. She's an author of the international bestseller, The Soulmate Secret, Manifest the Love of Your Life with the Law of Attraction. Her latest book, Wabi-Sabi Love, The Ancient Art of Finding Perfect Love in Imperfect Relationships, offered a groundbreaking shift in perception, showing couples how to have deeper, more loving, and more fulfilling relationship. Arielle has been called the Capit of Consciousness and the Fairy Godmother of Love. She lives in La Jolla, California with her husband soulmate, Brian Hiller, and their great friends. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Arielle Ford. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 5 Pieces of Advice, the place which change people's lives. Today I have with me Arielle Ford. Arielle, it's a really pleasure to meet you. I heard about you so many beautiful things from authors across the country. You are like a legend. I think you really are, because I was amazed that all those people actually were telling me about you, and I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for letting me be here and continue my journey of collecting a collective wisdom from the world, because I believe this project is all about. So today I wear my pink shirt.
Yes, I love your pink shirt.
And actually,
it looks so good with my shirt.
Exactly, and this is actually one of my favorites because it's pink. And today we're going to talk about relationships, about 5 pieces of advice in relationships, and about your book, Wabi-Sabi Love, and
The Soulmate Secret.
Soulmate Secret.
Yes.
All right. This is what I wanted to ask. Actually, who is the soulmate, and how do you see that?
What is a soulmate?
Yes.
Well, I believe a soulmate is first and foremost somebody you can completely be yourself with.
Okay.
Somebody that you share unconditional love with.
Okay.
And when you look into their eyes, you have the feeling of being home. So if you agree with me that that's what a soulmate is, the really, really good news is that you already have a lot of soulmates in your life. So it might be your siblings or your parents or your kids or your friends or your coworkers or even your cats and dogs, because all of them could fit into that category. I mean, there are lots of people in our lives that we can be ourselves with, that we have unconditional love for. And when we look at them, we feel at home, right?
Yeah, that's really interesting. So it don't have to be a romantic love.
No, but here's the interesting thing. If you put your attention on all the soulmates you already have and all the love you already have, that makes you magnetic to having a romantic soulmate. So the fastest way to bring in a romantic soulmate is to be grateful for all the love you already have.
All right, but do you think that is it really possible that everyone will find their soulmate? Because what I think, a lot of people struggling and they're not happy with the relationship they've got.
Well, you can have more than one soulmate. So there's really hundreds of thousands of potential soulmates alive on the planet right now.
All right.
There's not just one.
Okay.
And in fact, I know one woman who's now with her third soulmate because she outlived the first two.
Okay.
Now, the other thing people don't really understand about soulmates is that sometimes soulmate relationships end. You could meet your soulmate, you could fall in love, you could get married for 30 years, and then decide to get a divorce. And it doesn't mean they weren't your soulmate. What it does mean is that that particular relationship had an expiration date. It went bad like a carton of milk.
Could you share with me how that happened, that you and Brian met each other, and how did you find out? How did you know that he's your soulmate?
Well, it was kind of a very long story, but the short version is I woke up one morning when I was 43 years old.
Okay.
And I had this shocking thought, which was, oh my God, I forgot to get married. And I was freaking out. I was like, how did I get to be 43 and never married? And as I thought about it, I realized I had put all my attention on building my career. But I decided in that moment that I was going to take all my manifestation powers, all the prayers and processes and rituals that I used to generate this business, and see if it would work on my love life.
Okay.
And it did. It worked really well. So on the day that Brian and I actually met in person, we both knew we were meant to be together. Everybody who was in the room with us knew. 3 weeks later, we got engaged. And a year after that, we had 3 weddings. And that was 17 years ago.
May I ask you, do you share how did you manifest, Brian?
Yeah, every
in your book?
single thing I did is in my book, The Soulmate Secret, which is in 21 languages and available in 40 countries. So it's available to anybody who knows how to read.
Coming back to this subject, do you think that what is actually better? It's better being single, or it's better being married, or how do you see that right now?
There's actually scientific proof that people who are happily married lead longer, happier, more satisfying lives. If they get sick, they get better faster. They make more money. It's actually called the marriage effect.
Wow.
So being happily married is better for human beings on every level, because we were meant to be with another partner. We're not meant to be alone.
It's hard for me to believe that everything, when you even meet your soulmate, everything is perfect.
Oh, it's not.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not. Actually, manifesting the soulmate is the easy part. Learning to live with your soulmate, that's the hard part.
Okay.
So just because you're with your soulmate doesn't mean you're going to live happily ever after, or that it's going to be easy. It's not easy.
Okay.
But it's worth doing.
Is it like that? Is someone already know that is her or his soulmate? So do we know that instantly? Do we feel that?
No, most people don't know instantly. I knew instantly because I was doing some very advanced manifestation techniques.
All right.
And the day that I decided that I was going to manifest a soulmate, I started the relationship. So have you heard of the unified field? Do you know what the unified field is?
I don't.
Okay. So in quantum physics, the unified field says that we, all of us, all human beings, are connected to each other and to everything on the earth by some atomic structure. So knowing and believing that, my belief was that I was already connected to my soulmate on the unseen level.
Okay.
And so I began talking to him every day in my head.
Wow.
I didn't know his name. I didn't know where he lived. I didn't know when we were going to meet in the 3D physical world, but I knew he was out there. And I started doing what I call living as if. I lived my life as if I were already in the relationship. Not like it was going to happen someday, not like my soulmate was missing, but like we were already together. So every day I would talk to him in my head. And every time I was invited to a formal event and I'd get an invitation with an RSVP card, I would RSVP +1. I would buy cards that said, Happy Anniversary, Happy Birthday, Happy Valentine's Day. I bought tickets to concerts and plays. Anticipating that we would go together. So think of it this way. Let's say one of your goals was to have money, right?
Yeah.
Now you could go around acting as if you don't have any money and you're never going to have any money. And what's going to happen? You're never going to have any money. Or you would take on the attitude of, oh, I'm already wealthy, and start being grateful for, oh, I've got a place to live and I have a car to drive and I have a job to go to and I have money in the bank. And when you live out of this place of, it's already mine and I'm grateful for what I have, you get more of what you're grateful for.
And that's really interesting because a lot of people talking about that, but actually you made it. You really believe that this is working like that and you apply it to your life.
Well, I had all this proof that it worked.
And you
I had this very successful business because I didn't have like whenever I needed new clients, I didn't go looking for them. I would imagine them knocking on my door and walking through the door. So it wasn't like anything was ever missing. I just claimed it as mine. So when you can believe in every cell of your body that what you're asking for is already yours, because in the unified field on the quantum level it is, then it comes to you. But what happens with a lot of people is they keep believing the thoughts that they have.
Yes.
So if your thought is, I'm unworthy of love, I'm not lovable, all the good ones are taken, I missed the one that got away, I'm unlucky in love, if those are the thoughts you allow yourself to have, you will continuously be right. But if you're an emotionally mature adult and you manage your thoughts and emotions, you could have the thought, oh, I'm such a loser in love. And then you stop yourself and you say, no, cancel, cancel. I may have been a loser in love yesterday, but today I'm a winner in love because I have so many soulmates. I have my sister and my brother and my business partner and my dog who's my best friend, and my parents love me. And when you focus on all the good you have, you get more good.
So why, if it looks simple, it's
simple, but it's not easy.
So
because it requires active participation.
Effort.
You can't go unconscious. So if you live in a victim story, I'm poor, I'll always be poor. Nobody loves me. I can't find the right job. All you're going to be is right over and over again. So it requires maturity. You have to actually be responsible for your thoughts and your feelings. Now, that's not to say that while I've done all of this, I still don't have doubts. But when the doubts come up, I transform them.
So is this universal law which can be used to find our soulmate, or?
Sure, it's called the law of attraction, and you use it for everything. Like when we moved into this house, what happened was we found out that the house we were living in, the owner wanted it back. We were renting it because his son was getting married, and I had suddenly a very short amount of time to find a home. So I didn't go looking for houses. What I did was I closed my eyes and I imagined what it would feel like to be in a beautiful house with an ocean view that had a lot of wood and a lot of windows. And the next day I got a call from somebody who said, are you looking to move? Because we're in this house and we need to turn our lease over to somebody. We came over here, signed the lease that day.
Arielle, so the necessary attitude and steps which are required to manifest our soulmate?
Well, the first step is forgiveness.
Really?
The first thing you want to do is forgive yourself for ever thinking you did anything wrong. For thinking that you've made bad choices in the past, or that you just don't know how to make a relationship work. And then you want to forgive all the people that you're judging as having done you wrong. Because these prayers and processes and rituals are very powerful. So if you don't do forgiveness first, what happens is you manifest the same person over and over and over again. So if you're somebody who has a pattern, let's say your pattern is you always end up with people who cheat on you, you need to heal that pattern before you actively put the law of attraction into motion.
Understand. May I ask you, for example, let's imagine that someone is watching this interview and he or she is thinking like, I really would love to forgive and I really would love to go into this process. What maybe you can recommend a book or process or seminar which actually...
Well, in the book, The Soulmate Secret, all the processes for forgiveness are in there. But the easiest one is to realize that just because you're forgiving somebody doesn't mean you're forgetting what happened or that you're letting them back into your life. And you're not forgiving them to do something for them. You're doing it for you. You're letting go of the past. So a simple way to do it is just to write them a letter. I could write you a letter and say, here's why I have held this grudge against you for so long. In my experience, this is what happened. But I now choose to love you, release you, and forgive you, and set you free. And then you write a second letter, and you pretend you're the other person. And you channel them. And you write a letter about what being with you was like. Oh, well, here's what happened from my point of view. And then you have them forgive you, even though you're just channeling them. And then you burn the letters and you forget them. You never send them. You don't actually literally have to pick up the phone if you don't want to. But you go through this letting go process. And letting go is really easy. I mean, people think of letting go so hard, but we don't have... Do you have a pen? Give me a pen.
Yes, I do.
Okay. So I want you to hold the pen like this. Just hold it straight out like that. Okay, let it go. That's how easy it can
I'm
be.
not sure I will find it now. No worries.
Yeah. Yeah. You just let go. Just let go. And if you're really stuck, this is why God invented psychotherapists and coaches.
Okay.
Because you want to let go, forgive and forget first. That's the first step. So the second step to manifesting a soulmate is that you want to have clarity about the heart traits and qualities you want your soulmate to possess. Not how tall they are and how much they weigh and how much money they make. Those things aren't that important to your long-term happiness. But do you want somebody who's loving and kind and generous and compassionate and fun and likes to do some of the same things you do? Not everything, but some of the same things. So you make a soulmate wish list. And then after that, you want to create a ritual to surrender and detach from the list. Because the law of attraction states we draw to us the people, places, and experiences that match our state of being. So that's very intentional. But at the same time, you have to let it go and be detached from the outcome. And it sounds like a paradox, but it actually isn't.
It makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first, we have this list. Okay.
Yes.
And so how we, after that, detaching from this list? What we need to
Well,
do?
I created a ritual where I wrote out my list on a very nice piece of stationery, and I took it down to the ocean, and I said a prayer of gratitude over it, and then I burned the list, and I scattered the ashes into the ocean, so I let it go. And then I took myself out to lunch, and I ordered a glass of champagne, and in my head, I toasted my soulmate, and I said to him, the cosmic welcome mat is now open. You can arrive at any time. And I started the relationship that day. And it's what I call love before first sight.
I'm amazed, Arielle. I really am. Because of, I heard a lot of people telling about law of attraction, but I never met someone who actually did it.
Lots of people do. I know tons of people that do. Because it works. You can create anything. But you have to really believe that you're deserving of it. And this is why the secret sauce to my manifestation powers is what I call a feelingization. So you've probably heard about visualizations,
yes,
where you close your eyes and you see something in your head.
Yes.
The reason they don't work for most people is because, let's say in your head, you're picturing that you want the new Audi S8 sedan that costs $100,000. And in your head, you see yourself driving this beautiful car. But your feeling state is, I can't afford it, I don't deserve it, it will never happen. So your feeling state is canceling out the picture in your mind. So with a feelingization, I take people from their head to their heart. So we get out of our heads, we get out of the pictures, and we go into our heart, and I put them into a state of love and appreciation and gratitude and re-experiencing feelings of love. And from that really gentle place, then we drop in the desires that we want to manifest. And they become very, very powerful. Because in order to manifest, you have to know, trust, and believe that what you've asked for is already yours. Not like it's coming in the future, but on some unseen level, some other dimension, you're already with your soulmate.
Arielle, for example, so for people who are watching those interviews and they would like to change their lives and they would like to do something, what will be one thing what they could start from today? Like the most important is going to be this forgiveness process. What it could be?
Well, there isn't. It's not that simple. You can't do one thing and have the soulmate tomorrow.
I understand, but we need to start with
something.
Well,
you would start with forgiveness.
Okay.
You would start with being really honest with yourself about what are the heart traits and qualities you most desire in a soulmate. What kind of person do you need to be with? And again, not what do they look like, but what does it feel like to be with them? Okay. And start to really get in touch with, what will our life together feel like and look like, and what will we do and where will we go? And start to make that list, and then surrender the list, let go of the list. And then probably the next most important thing is to practice living as if. So if I said to you, I promise you, your soulmate is going to arrive on your doorstep in 2 weeks. Wouldn't you be waking up every morning with a smile on your face?
Yes.
Wouldn't you be getting your home ready, cleaning it up, emptying some drawers so she can put her clothes somewhere, really getting ready? You'd be preparing. That's what living as if is about. It's when your daily activities match your beliefs. Now, we don't know if your soulmate's coming tomorrow or in 3 years. But either way, you want to live in this state of excitement and anticipation and joy that you know and trust that your soulmate is not only already connected to you today, but will soon be at your front door.
We believe sharing is really sexy. So if you like what you've seen here, please share this video with others, subscribe, and sign up for our email updates for exclusive content.
Let's imagine that someone has, sometimes it's cloudy day, but I don't mean cloudy outside. I mean this when they feel down.
Yeah, that's normal. It happens to all human beings.
I guess so. I think so. What would you recommend at this time for people who are feeling that? What they could do when they feel down?
Oh, there's lots of things. I mean, I believe in having your own personal spiritual toolkit. So if I'm experiencing emotion that I don't like, let's say it's sadness or anger, frustration, I do tapping. Do you know what tapping is? The tapping. Yeah. And it's very easy to learn. It works on the meridian points, and you just say a series of statements. You can go on the internet and learn how to do tapping in 10 minutes, and it's free, and it's wonderful. I also do...
and is it really working? Is it to change your state of emotional state?
Completely. Yeah, they actually use it now very effectively for soldiers coming home from war who have PTSD.
Really?
It's very, very effective to change your emotional state. There's another method I like called the Sedona method, which is sort of a self-talk method.
I heard about that.
It's wonderful. And then the Institute of Heart Math, which is an incredible facility in Northern California, has this technique called doing a heart lock-in, where you take your attention and you place it on your heart and you re-experience feelings of love, appreciation, and gratitude. And then sometimes I'll just go for a walk, or I'll take a bath, or I'll look into the mirror and I'll remind myself, oh, I really love you, and I'll blow myself a kiss. So you can be responsible for and change your state of being.
So Arielle, it's really a lot of depending on the law of attraction and how we're going to use that. So it means that we're using this all the time anyway?
Well, the law of attraction is always working. Just like the law of gravity works whether you're paying attention or not, the law of attraction is bringing to you what your predominant thoughts and beliefs are. So if you want to see what it is you really want in life, look at what you have. And if you don't like what you have, what you need to do is change your thoughts and beliefs. And nobody can do that for you. And it's not something you learn overnight. You've probably heard that it takes 10,000 hours to become a master of something.
Yes.
Well, you're young. You've got the rest of your life to become a master of the law of attraction. And it's fun to do, and you can practice on little things. You could practice on finding a parking space. You could decide, okay, I need to drive to the store. And parking's always a problem at the store. But you could decide, oh, when I get to the store, I'm going to feel so good because somebody's going to be pulling out and that will be my space. Practice on little things. Don't start with, I'm manifesting my soulmate tomorrow.
Okay.
Start small.
Okay, Arielle, what is this wabi-sabi love, this concept?
Oh, okay. So once you have the soulmate, you have to learn to live with the soulmate.
Okay.
So wabi-sabi is this ancient Japanese aesthetic that looks to find beauty and perfection in imperfection.
Okay.
So let's say that we had this big vase and it had a crooked crack down the middle of it. The Japanese would take this broken vase and they would place it on a pedestal, and then they would shine a spotlight on the crack. They would honor the crack. They would find beauty and perfection in the imperfection. So are you perfect?
Of course not.
Neither am I. And your wife isn't going to be perfect either. Okay?
Okay.
Nobody's perfect. And yet we've been brainwashed by society to seek perfection in ourselves, in our mates, in our children, in our homes, in our jobs. And what happens? We end up frustrated and unhappy because nothing's perfect. So I think the word perfection needs to be changed to pure fiction. It doesn't exist. It's not going to happen for anybody. And what I can promise you is that when you find your soulmate, they're going to be as imperfect as you are. The difference will be, can you learn to have some fun with their imperfections? Can you learn to love their imperfections? So one of the things that happened when Brian and I first got together was one day I found myself like this. I was just carrying on. I don't even know what about. And I stopped myself. I was sort of shocked. I was like, oh my God, when did I become that woman? And I said to Brian, I said, you know, the next time this happens, and there's going to be a next time, could you just kindly, gently, sweetly say to me, when did Sheila enter the room? Now, Sheila's my mother, and I love her, and she's great. But she can be really overbearing and bossy, as can I. And Brian was so cool about it. He said, yes. And the next time I'm too patronizing, you can call me Wayne. That was his father's name. So in an instant, we went from almost going to World War III to laughing at ourselves. And I became Sheila and he became Wayne. And those became our wabi-sabi code names to stop what we were doing. And that's how easy it can be, and it can be fun.
For example, for the couples who are maybe angry of themselves or annoyed or something, what could you recommend for them to do?
Yeah, well, the first thing you want to do is if you're annoyed with your mate, take a time out. You know, don't start yelling and screaming, carrying on.
But just go for a walk.
Go for a walk, go do some breathing, go settle down, and see if you can identify, you know, what it is. Because chances are they've pushed your buttons. You know, something in you got defensive about something they did or got insulted by something they did. And you need to remember that they didn't wake up in the morning thinking, I'm going to drive my wife crazy today. I'm going to see if I can really piss her off. That was not their thought. They didn't mean to upset you. And really, you're getting plugged in by something that reminds you of something that happened long ago. So you have to be responsible for your part of it. And then if you need to go back to them, you just say, you know what, I felt really hurt or upset when I heard you say such and such because it reminded me of A, B, or C. And I know you didn't mean to hurt my feelings, but I just wanted to share with you what happened. And that way they're not feeling attacked. You're not yelling at them. You're just sweetly explaining what your feelings are. And chances are they'll probably say, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for that to happen. You know, so it's learning how to communicate in a non-violent, non-threatening way.
From your perspective, how to have a happy and meaningful and fulfilled life? What are ingredients to that?
Well, the first thing you have to realize is that you're in charge of your own happiness. Okay. So even if you think, okay, well, I'm miserable today, but I'll be happy when I find my soulmate. Not really.
That's going to
So you have to figure out what makes you happy. And it's a multi-level thing. So in order to be really happy, you need to have a certain level of health and well-being. So how do you need to take care of yourself? What kind of foods really nourish your body? What kind of exercise makes you stronger? What kind of people do you want to surround yourself with? What kind of work do you want to be doing? What kind of service do you want to be giving to the world? So you have to look at all of these areas. And when you get them all figured out, you're going to wake up with a smile on your face. But if you're living like, well, when I get the car or when I get the job or when I get this, then I'll be happy, you're never going to be happy because happiness is not dependent on things. Happiness is really about the relationship with yourself and the world around you.
Okay, so if someone, for example, wants to know, because what I believe a lot of people don't know themselves, or even they have no idea who they are,
right,
and what they like and what they don't. So from your perspective, what would you recommend to start getting to know myself or ourselves?
Yeah, I think maybe you want to spend some time alone every day and get out a journal and start writing. And maybe every day you ask yourself another question. You know, what kind of food would best serve my life? What kind of eating program should I be on? You know, and if you don't know, you can go to a food coach, you know, and you could ask yourself, what am I most passionate about? Like if I won the lottery tomorrow, how would I spend my days? Or you could wake up and think, who in my life that I love could I really be a day maker for? Do you know what a day maker is?
Yeah, like someone who makes your day.
Exactly. So, and you might want to do it anonymously. Maybe on your birthday, you want to send your mother flowers because she gave birth to you. That's being a day maker. So it's really an inquiry into who am I and what do I need for long-term happiness? And really start to figure it out. There are lots of books on happiness to read, lots of good books. There's Happy for No Reason by Marcy Shimoff's probably the best book on the subject. There's workshops to go to. There are movies like yours. There's documentaries. I mean, there's no place on the internet that you can't find this information for free.
That's true.
So if you want to be miserable, go ahead. You can choose that, and if you want to change your life, don't expect to have it happen overnight, but do know that it's possible. Because when I was growing up, I was totally miserable. I was very shy, very insecure, and I was depressed most of the time. And there was a point when I was a teenager where I was even suicidal. But when I was 28 years old, I decided I was tired of being miserable. And I was going to do everything in my power to figure out how to be happy. And within a few years, I was.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Arielle, my next question is, a lot of people who I'm doing this for, they want to believe in something, and they're looking for it. And outside there is so many things that we can believe in, all this kind of religion. And I'm asking all all in the interviews, like, what you believe in?
I'm a Jewish, Christian, Hindu, Buddhist, pagan.
All right.
And I believe a little bit of all of those religions, and that mostly I believe that we live in a friendly universe and that the universe is always working in my favor. And as long as I continue to love myself and love you and love my friends and family, good things are going to happen. So that's pretty much the structure I live in.
Okay. So may I ask you, besides those visualization and things, do you have kind of praying method, or do you
Well, when I pray, I only pray prayers of gratitude. So there are prayers like, Dear God, please send me a soulmate. Dear God, please send me a job. That's one way to pray. If I were going to pray, I would say, Dear God, I am so grateful for the soulmate that you've sent me, for the perfect right person who is going to share my life with me. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sending this person into my life. So I believe prayers of gratitude, because then you're acknowledging that what you're asking for is already yours, not like it's missing. Because if you're praying for, Dear God, send me a soulmate, the energy is the soulmate's missing.
Okay, what about if someone, for example, they want to be grateful, but they don't, even they try, or they're saying this out loud, they don't feel like it?
So an easy way to get to gratitude is looking at the simple things. Like, we live in a world where we have enough clean air to breathe and enough water to drink.
That's simple.
That's simple. And you could just, if you can't think of anything else to be grateful for, start there. Oh, I'm grateful that I woke up this morning. I'm grateful that I have a job to go to. I'm grateful that I have a friend. I'm grateful that I have a dog. I'm grateful that I have food to eat. Start there, but gratitude's essential. And then you can be thanking God or the universe or whatever you believe in for all the good that's in your life, that's coming every day, because you want to focus on the good. There's been some scientific studies that have proven that people who wear rose-colored glasses, who choose to see the world that way, lead happier, longer, more satisfying lives. But let me tell you why. Because they're focused on what's right and not what's on wrong.
That was actually one question which I know to ask you. How's that with these glasses? So it's really, we can choose to, even with our partners, to you can look at your partner and you can be grateful for all the things they do well,
Or you could look and be angry that they didn't take the trash out, or they didn't close the door, or they didn't pick up the laundry, or whatever it is you wanted them to do. So when you're focused on what's right, you'll have a better relationship and they're going to like you a lot more. If you're focused on what's wrong, you're never going to be happy because you're on a negative path.
What to do when our partner consistently does something that what makes us crazy?
Well, that's when you want to apply wabi-sabi love and you want to turn the story around. So I'll tell you a story that will explain this. I have these friends named Jerry and Diane. And Jerry has an addiction. He's addicted to poppy seed bagels. And then what he does is every morning he goes in the kitchen and he gets his bagel and then he slices it in half to put it in the toaster. But when he puts the knife to it, all the little black poppy seeds pop off and they go all over his wife's white tile floor.
All right.
This has been going on for 30 years.
Okay.
Now, when she gets up in the morning, the first thing she does is she gets a paper towel and she wets it. Then she gets on her hands and knees and she wipes up all the little black poppy seeds off the floor.
Okay.
It's been going on forever. Most mornings, it's not a problem for her. But on one particular morning, she was in a bad mood. And as she was wiping up the seeds, she had this thought, oh, I wonder what it would take to never have to do this again. This is really annoying. And that was followed by the thought, oh, that would mean Jerry's no longer with me. And she started to cry and she got off the floor and she went to go give him a hug. But what changed was every day after that, as she was wiping up all those black poppy seeds, her heart would fill with love because these seeds now meant that she had another day to spend with Jerry.
So she turned it around.
She turned it around. She had a wabi-sabi shift in perception. And that's what you can do because let's say the thing that your mate does that you don't like is they always leave wet towels on the bathroom floor. And you whine, bitch, moan, complain, don't leave the wet towels on the floor. And yet they do. Now, your spouse might have grown up in a house where that was normal because there was a maid who came in and picked it up and that's just normal for them. You grew up in a house where everybody put their towel on a rack. So you think it's bad and wrong that they do it that way. Now, you could continue to complain about it, but as you've noticed, nothing ever changes. Or you could just decide, you know what? This wet towel means that I'm still living with my soulmate who loves me to death and is a great father or great mother, and we have a nice life together, and I'm just going to pick up the towel. Just be personally responsible for it. That's what Brian did with me. I'm a slob. I'm a total slob. I always leave crumbs everywhere I go. But he finally figured out, since I don't see the crumbs and he can't stand the crumbs, he cleans up after me. And we get along much better that way.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Arielle, is it something which you regret in your life?
Yes. I regret that I didn't know all of this long ago. I mean, everything that I've learned by making lots and lots and lots of mistakes. So had I had the vision to become a student of love in my 20s, I would have had a very different life. I mean, technically, I don't regret anything because I've never been happier. And I really believe that the divine timing of not getting married till I was in my 40s was best for me. But I would say that not knowing a lot of this stuff, I could have avoided some pain.
All right. Okay. So if you could you live your life again one more time, would you do something differently? Like one particular thing which coming to your mind?
Yes. I would be more fearless. I would take bigger risks.
Really?
Yeah, because what I've learned is that things always turn out okay. You know, everything always turns out okay. But when I was younger, there was a lot of fear and anxiety that stopped me from doing things. And I wish I knew then what I know now, which is like leap and, you know, the net will appear.
That's, from my perspective, this one, it's really, because even this, what I'm doing right now, it required a big leap for me, like a leap of faith. And it's working, right? You're having a great time. I do.
You look pretty happy.
I do. I really have a great time.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it some decision that you are really proud about? Like if you see your life, maybe sometime, maybe 20s, 30s, 40s, doesn't matter.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. When I was just about to turn 30 years old, I decided to move from Miami, Florida to Los Angeles, California. And I didn't know anybody, and I didn't have very much money, and I didn't have a job to go to. But I got on the plane and I went anyway. And it was the best decision of my life. My entire life changed when I got to LA. So yes, I'm very proud of that.
So based on this decision, what would you recommend for people who are in the same age? Maybe you have been in
because when you're 20s and in your 30s, you really can't make very big mistakes. So if you feel this desire to try something new, whether it's a new place to live or a new school to go to or a new job, just go for it. Just try it. What's the worst that can happen? You made a mistake. It didn't work out. But if you don't try it, you'll live in the same little town doing the same little thing for the rest of your life and you'll be bored.
All right. That makes sense. Okay. So let's imagine that on the street you are meeting two young people, maybe in their 20s.
Yeah.
And they asking you, hey, Arielle, could you give us 5 pieces of advice from your entire life experience?
Oh, wow.
What would you say?
Well, the first one is when you decide that you're ready to get married, choose very, very wisely. Don't rush into anything. Really get to know somebody that you want to spend the rest of your life with. Because having a great relationship is made up of many things. Of course, you want some chemistry, but you want great communication, you want compatibility, and you want someone who shares your vision for your life.
Of course.
So number 1, choose wisely. I'd say number 2, learn to be personally responsible for your own happiness. Figure out what makes you happy, what makes you unhappy. And when you are unhappy, figure out what you need to do to get over it. Number 3, be a giver. Be a lover of life. Realize that life isn't a competition. It's a collaboration. It's not a competition. There's more than enough. The world is abundant enough. There's more than enough for you, and there's more than enough for me. So share yourself as if you really believe we live in an abundant universe. Those are 3. What other 2 things would I share? I don't know. If you want to live with an enlightened master and have a daily spiritual experience, have pets. Have dogs or cats.
All right.
There's nothing better than having the unconditional love of a great dog or a great cat or many dogs and cats. Okay. For me, life isn't worth living without my pets.
Oh, what it could do for people living or having pets?
Well, they actually have shown that by petting a dog or a cat, it calms your nervous system down. It makes you more peaceful. It makes you healthier. So there are health benefits, but I'm just talking about the emotional, spiritual benefits.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the 5th thing, the 5th thing, I would say allow yourself to dream. Allow yourself some space to just let your imagination wander. Like, who am I and what do I want to do and where do I want to go and who do I want to play with? And then use the law of attraction to make it happen.
All right. So that was all my questions.
Oh, good. Yay. Good.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest today was Arielle Ford. Arielle, thank you so much.
Thank you. It was so fun talking to you.
I really enjoyed that.
And you can become a mentor for millions of people around the world. Just go to the Leave Your Advice section and share your wisdom with the world. And if your story is outstanding, we will come to you and record an exclusive interview about your story.